I want to talk with you today about people that are having trouble grooming their dogs. I hear this a lot, that their dogs will not let them groom them, that they'll run when they see the brush or snap or whatever. And if your dog's biting at you, obviously you want to get some professional help, but come here, somebody, and I don't care who. Barkley, first of all, I put a leash on her. And second of all, I'm putting her on a grooming table. Everybody should have a grooming table. What I try to do is I get a grooming table that is small, just big enough for my dog to stand on, so they're not running all around on the grooming table until I get them trained to groom. So you want to buy a grooming table, actually made for grooming. Go online, look up grooming table, buy the appropriate grooming table for your breed. You have to get your dog accustomed to being up on the grooming table and teach your dog to stand and be still before you can even attempt to groom. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to stand this dog up just like that. You keep the head up. Her feet should stay wherever I put them. Good girl. And this looks easy, but go ahead and try it with your dog. If your dog hasn't been trained to do this, it's going to be all over the place. So the key to it is having control of the head. So I always want to have it on a leash. Have the dog on a leash and hold that head still, because if you let go of the head, the dog, she's trained to the grooming table pretty good, but if you let go of the head, the dog could actually jump off the table, fall off the table, do this, lay down, scramble around. But when you have control of the head, then you have control of the dog. So I get her head up, go under her belly, lift her up, stand her up, just like that. Practice this. Make sure you have this, that you can move all around your dog, that you can look in its mouth, check the ears, make sure there's no bad odors. You want to be able to pick up the feet, check the paws, check the toenails. You have to be able to handle your dog all over in order to groom it. Now, a lot of dogs that are spoiled house dogs and have been running the show, they resent this because they are in control of you. So this is also a really good way to teach the dog who is running the show. And that's why I'm not a big believer in all these distractions, people using food. They use a thing that they put on the wall and put peanut butter in it, so the dog's licking peanut butter. Dog isn't learning anything when you're doing that. This is how my dog has got to stand when I'm grooming the dog. Now, the other mistake that people make is they use the wrong tools on the dog, and they scare the dog or they cause pain. I'm not going to use a pin brush on a dachshund. I'm not going to use it on something like a Doberman. Dogs that have really short, slick hair. Now, I'm going to correct her when she gets goofy. Dogs that have really short, slick hair, this is going to injure them. So you want to make sure that you're using the right tools for the job when you're grooming, when you're training your dog to groom. But before you can do any kind of grooming, brushing, you have to have this. You have to have a dog that stands on the table politely. Let me get a different one. Come here, Nikita. Where's Nikita? Where's Nikita? Oh, here's Matt. Now, Matt will be a good one because he does not like to stand on the table. So we've called him Matt since he was a puppy because he likes to go flat. See what he does? He's never enjoyed being on an elevated surface since he was little. So what do you do with a dog like this? You get his head and you get his belly and you stand him up and scratch him underneath here. Give him some confidence. Give him that confidence he needs to stand here. Square him up so he feels nice and balanced. Good boy, Matt. Check your teeth. Check your mouth. If he starts to crouch, I'm going to stand him up. Stand on your own 4 feet. Check his ears. You want to go over your dog, especially if you've been out for a hike in the woods or somewhere. I'm feeling underneath him to make sure he doesn't have any stickers, he doesn't have any ticks. Dogs have got to submit to this kind of handling. Dogs that don't are generally spoiled house dogs. Found a little something right there, kind of a little, yeah, little stick. So I'm just going to go through him and do that. But he's not allowed, if I let go of him, let's see if he crumbles down. That's better. Good boy. He's just never been a table, he's never enjoyed table. But you can teach any of them to do it. Stand there. And if he doesn't happen to like it, well, too bad. You know, sometimes you just in life have to do things you don't like. It seems like people are so busy trying to make sure their dog is always happy and not stressed at all. And they create dogs that are in control of every situation. And God help him if he had to work a nerve. You know, Fraser said it best. Poor Eddie had to work a nerve, you know. These dogs have got to learn some impulse control, self-control, and to defer to your handling. And, you know, you just got to get used to the little bit, let them get used to a spray. You can use any kind of coat conditioning spray. I like to use this because then when I'm brushing them and combing them out, the hair isn't flying everywhere. Especially if if I'm doing out here, I don't care. But if you're doing it indoors, you don't want that hair flying everywhere. So you just put a little bit of conditioning spray in their coat, leave in, and then you just, I'm going through them right now with a Furminator, getting some fur out of him. If you do this a couple times a week, you're not going to have a dog that's blowing coat really bad. But unless that dog can stand there and subject itself to some handling and some grooming, keep the food out of it, keep the licky mats out of it, actually train your dog to defer to your leadership. And, my dogs do enjoy their grooming sessions. I know Shelby absolutely loves it. So see how he hasn't moved a foot? He has not moved a foot. This is how dogs should stand for the veterinarian. This is how dogs should stand for grooming. When you take a dog like this to your groomer, they love you because your dog actually has manners, and they use a grooming noose, muzzles, they hang the dogs in slings and stuff like that, which is a lot more stressful than just training your dog. Here, you think, wow, this table's too little for Shelby. Yeah, you'll get up here too, Storm, but I already called Shelby. All right. And see, if you stand them in the same spot in the same position every time, then they already know what to expect. I always have mine facing that way, facing to my right. I put them on the grooming table, and they know that's where they're supposed to stand. Always in the same spot, always in the same way. See, I'm pulling a lot of fur out of him, and see how it flies. But if I spray him, it'll fall off. Sprayer's not working so great. There we go. I'll spray him and rub it in a little bit. Rub it in, rub it in, rub it in, rub it in. Oh, see, they like that. It's a massage. Teach them to like your touch instead of always looking for a treat or a licky mat. Teach them to enjoy. Teach them to be in the moment. They turn out like people who are always on their cell phone. They might be at a beautiful park, but all they're doing is looking at their phone. Okay, now here's what happens to the hair. If you put the spray in, it just falls down. It's not floating all over your room. So, and while I'm doing this, I'm feeling him for, ticks, bugs, sticks, because we go out in the woods a lot. And they get used to the routine, it's like, okay, she's going to put me on the table. She's going to, look in my mouth, check my teeth. She's going to check my ears, make sure they don't stink. She's going to check all my feet, checking for things in the foot, checking the nails. So they know exactly what's going to happen to them every time they're on the grooming table. So I hope this helps you. And before I would ever come after the dog with a brush or a spray or anything like that, I'm going to teach my dog to stand on the table. And that might take days or weeks. But this dog is to stand here until I put it on the floor. And he's not to give me any lip about anything that I'm doing to him. So anyway, if you have any questions, drop them in the comments below. Comments drive content, so please like, subscribe, comment, and share. Thank you. Good boy, Shelps.